Hey, it's Josh Jacobs, and you're listening to Fantasy Football Counseling.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Joseph Robert, the Fantasy Football Counselor. In this video, we're talking about Josh Jacobs and his fantasy football impact and outlook going into 2020 fantasy football. Excited to dive in and give you guys the verdict on if you should or should not draft Josh Jacobs going into 2020 fantasy football. It's very important, guys, that you guys are listening to the Impact series, because I'm going in and I'm deep diving and breaking down each individual player, giving you guys all the facts, all the statistics about him from last year, and the outlook and the landscape around him, whether they're in a committee or not. Everything you need to know, guys, in the Impact series, covering every fantasy relevant player for 2020 fantasy football. Excited to dive into Josh Jacobs today. Before I get into that, guys, make sure you guys click on the link below. Get the 16-round draft solution, guys. If you guys are on YouTube, I've also pinned the comment. This is the game changer, guys. Scrap the draft kits, scrap the cheat sheets. I'm giving you guys all the optimal players in each round, sleepers, breakouts. I'm omitting and getting rid of any player that's not fantasy relevant. I did that last year, guys. I told you not to stay away from Antonio Brown round 2, Damian Williams round 2, Odell Beckham round 1. Told you guys to stay away from the guys that could potentially bust, right? You guys dodged a lot of bullets last year. So I give you guys a ton of players that are optimal each round, including later rounds, because a lot of people get confused after like the 6th round. What do you do? Also, do you do robust RB? How do you do robust RB? Which running backs do you implement with robust RB? I go over all the details, guys. It's very simple to follow instructions in there, and I update this thing until the season starts. Get the 16-round draft solution. And guys, please leave a thumbs up if you're here on YouTube. If you're in the car, make sure you guys please leave a 5-star rating and review on iTunes and follow on Spotify. It means the world to me. All right, so let's dive into Josh Jacobs. And at the end of this video, guys, I'm going to give you guys a verdict on Josh Jacobs, okay? If I'm going to draft him or not. All right, so let's start talking about him. He played 13 games last season. He had a little bit of a bum shoulder. His shoulder was a little banged up after week 7 when they played Green Bay. I mean, for that game, he rushed for 124 yards. So bottom line is this guy's an absolute beast, and they didn't draft anybody else. So there isn't going to be a person on that team that's going to affect him in regards to volume and production. So that's really, really appealing to me. I'm looking at his attempts last year. Again, only 13 games, rookie year. So I can only imagine that they were just getting him worked in the system, integrated, trying to figure things out. 242 attempts, everybody, 1,150 yards, over 1,000 yards, guys, in his rookie year, averaging 4.8 yards per carry. Very impressive, Josh Jacobs, and he had 7 rushing touchdowns. Now, what I'd like to see come up, because this guy can catch the ball, I would like to see some receiving touchdowns. He didn't have any. 20 receptions on 27 targets for 166 yards receiving. That tells me, guys, that there's still a ton of ceiling for this guy. Now, here's other good news for him. The draft, Henry Ruggs was acquired by the Las Vegas Raiders. So this is really exciting stuff, because now they've actually got a receiver, right? They've got Waller and they've got Ruggs now. Ruggs could definitely stretch the field out, open things up, because that's a problem with Jacobs being the best player on the team. He's going to potentially see stacked boxes. Now with Ruggs there, this is going to be really exciting. I love the fact that they've got a receiver now that could potentially be good. Now, I think he's a little raw. I would have preferred them get a guy like maybe Judy or someone like that who went to the Broncos, Jerry Judy, but they got Henry Ruggs, and he's a speedster, and I think they definitely need that. Now, the big problem here with the Raiders is Carr. I'm not sold on Carr as a quarterback. I'm just not. I mean, the guy just hasn't made good fantasy wide receivers come out any of the past couple years, right? Amari Cooper was there, didn't really thrive for years, right? So, I mean, it may help Jacobs, right? But with Ruggs, I'm probably going to avoid that situation. I see Ruggs being a, boom or bust kind of player. But we're not talking about Ruggs here. We're talking about Jacobs. But I'm just kind of giving you guys, the situation around Josh Jacobs in that offense, right? And all the pluses and the negatives around it. Now, the ceiling is there. Like I said, more receptions need to be had. I think more attempts are going to be had. 13 games, 242 attempts. I'm expecting a floor of 260 attempts. I'm expecting a floor of 1,200 yards rushing. 7 touchdowns, that's definitely going to go up. I'm expecting a floor of 8. I'm super conservative here. I'm not going really high. And again, there's a high ceiling, but I'm kind of giving you the floors here. 20 receptions, that's definitely got to jump up to at least 30 to 40. Right? And some receiving touchdowns. So his numbers are definitely going to go up, and they have to. He finished 21st in PPR last year. That definitely has to go up. He's currently ranked in the consensus rankings, and I have to mention the consensus rankings because when you are doing a draft, whatever platform you're using, whether it be NFL or any other platform you're using, when you're doing your fantasy football draft, these guys come off pretty much on ADP, average draft position. And Jacobs is 13th right now, which is really good. What's shocking is that I love the ceiling and guys like Mixon. Mixon has a high ceiling, but it's a suspect offense. Dalvin Cook, Nick Chubb, Kenyon Drake, and Aaron Jones are all ahead of Josh Jacobs. And I would take Jacobs ahead of all those guys for many different reasons. And I can give you one example of one is Aaron Jones, right? I mean, we just did a video on him. He had 242 attempts where he maxed out at. Okay, and now they've got Dylan there. So if Dylan is there, this new rookie running back, and they're going to probably throw more this year, how is he going to hit the 242 attempts? As a floor, Jacobs had 242 last year, but he hasn't even topped his ceiling. Jones hit his ceiling last year with 16 rushing touchdowns. He had all that volume, all those attempts, all those rushing points, right? And with Dylan there now, it's going to be a thorn. Jacobs doesn't have that. So Josh Jacobs seems way more appealing to me than a guy like Aaron Jones. Another guy, I got to give you an example here, Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb had a pinnacle year last year. He is in a committee with Kareem Hunt, and Kareem Hunt could be a starter on his own. So why would I invest my capital, my early draft capital, on a guy like Aaron Jones or Nick Chubb, for example, or Dalvin Cook for that matter, who's coming off top 5, which is insane. I'd rather have myself a Derrick Henry or a Zeke over Dalvin Cook, right? I'd rather have Josh Jacobs over Dalvin Cook and get Madison later. You get Jacobs, right? And when Cook goes down, when Cook goes down, you can get 2 RB1s. Does that make sense? So many people are telling me, hey, Joe, you need to draft Cook and then get Madison. I'm like, no, I'm going to draft Jacobs and then I'm going to get Madison later. And of course, guys, you got to go robust RB. So you're going to have more running backs anyway early on, guys that are in minimal committees that I talk about in 16 rounds, right? So why not get Jacobs, who's set for a huge amount of volume, knock on wood, who's more durable than Cook, and then get Madison later because Cook hasn't finished the season. That's just the bottom line. And I know you're saying, well, Josh Jacobs hasn't finished the season. Joe, he only played 13 games. I understand, but Jacobs will be fine. He's the workhorse running back. And I know the Raiders believe in him. And guess what? Guess who believes in him? Joseph Robert, the fantasy football counselor. So to answer your question, if you guys have not taken a hint here, guys, hit, nudge here. I'm hitting you with my elbow here. I'm nudging you. I got to tell you, man, will I draft Josh Jacobs? I'm going to say a hell yes, I will. And I don't put my faith in just one running back. Never do that, guys. Never put your faith in one running back. Always go with the robust RB strategy. So if I go late round 1, I get Jacobs, I can come back and get myself a Gurley or Fournette, swing back around. And there's a ton of value, guys. David Johnson, I'm going to say this in every one of my videos. My mind is blown how David Johnson is not in the top 5. It's crazy. I mean, this guy has a ton of upside. And again, you're going to keep hearing this because this is the biggest steal in fantasy football drafts. I can't get over it. I really can't. He is on the Concheapsis. He's out of the top 10. I don't even know where he's at. I'm not even going to look. Actually, I may pull it up here. But this is actually very, very embarrassing that I won't pull it up right now, but I think David Johnson's like 17th or something amongst running backs. It's crazy. You get a ton of value with guys like David Johnson later. Even Montgomery's coming off ADP round 5, which is absolutely insane. The point I'm trying to make here, guys, I love Josh Jacobs. Draft him, but don't put all your weight on one player. Go with the robust RB, implement that as a fantasy football draft strategy, and you will succeed. So Josh Jacobs, yes, draft him. Ceiling is high. You've heard the negatives, which is like Carr and maybe some stacked boxes if Ruggs doesn't spread the defenses out wide. But at the end of the day, Josh Jacobs is a solid. I got him like top 6 right now, man. The ceiling is high. Absolutely love him and draft him as a robust RB strategy. You'll be very, very happy. I assure you guys. Okay. So also the Impact Series, guys, if you are on YouTube, there's a link here below to all of my videos on the Impact Series, and you can get them at thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. Just go to my homepage, and right on the homepage, you can see all my videos. Just got to load more, and you can see all my videos. There's a whole library of content there and a ton of free advice here that I give you guys for Fantasy Football 2020. You guys are going to be light years ahead of the competition. It's not even fair. And I'm telling you guys, if you get the 60-round draft solution, guys, draft kits are dead. The sheepsis, the consensus rankings, that's done, right? You can't just draft based on ADP. You won't succeed. So the future of fantasy football is here. Get the 60-round draft solution below, guys. And of course, head on over to thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. You get it. There's also a direct access tab, guys. I've replaced the Elite Talent Mastermind group with the direct access, where I'm going to be texting you guys my waiver wires. I'm going to be texting you guys my inside information as it happens throughout the season. So get the direct access, guys, at thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. You will absolutely love it, guys. I'm going to be texting you guys direct advice. It's like having me in your back pocket right here on your cell phone. You're going to absolutely love it, okay? And of course, subscribe, leave a thumbs up, and let me know, because your opinion matters. Are you drafting Josh Jacobs for 2020 fantasy football? As I end every video of the player that I would like to draft, I'm going to say it again. If I'm suggesting you draft him, I definitely think you should consider him. This video hopefully has swayed you towards the Josh Jacobs train, because it's going to be riding hot for 2020 fantasy football. The ceiling is there. The upside is there. Josh Jacobs, an absolute stud. Let's go, Jacobs. I'm rooting for you. Subscribe, and I am out. Thank you guys for being here. It means the world to me.